What's going on, guys? Thanks to those joining me live and to those that be joining me on Archive D-Style Boxing. Here, hit the notifications button so you get notified when D-Style Boxing comes on live. If you're listening on Archive, leave a comment and tell me what you think. Thumbs up the video. Support the channel. Let's go ahead and talk about these numbers really quick. Really quick. All right. And then we'll see where we dive in from there. Okay. We'll see where we dive in from there, but check it out. So the Wilder Stiverne fight did about, it did over 800,000 views, right? Which is something, right? Which is something. Especially on Showtime. Showtime is not it doesn't have as many, subscriptions as HBO does. It's slowly catching up. It's, but it's not there yet. But its boxing audience is pretty similar now, though, but nonetheless, now that's just live. That's not counting the replays. That's not counting social media views. 'Cause I'm seeing this shit everywhere. That knockout's everywhere, right? That knockout is honestly everywhere, right? Now, the reason the number is impressive, this is the reason the number is impressive. It's not just the fact that it did over 800,000 views. Now, I know people may say 800,000, that's nothing, right? And we'll talk about what I think they should have done, but let's leave that aside for the moment. Number one, there was only one thing I always look at is free preview weekends. There was only one provider that had a free preview weekend for the Wilder fight. None of them had a free preview weekend for the Joshua fight, not that I could find. But it really made no difference, right? Now, the Joshua fight, some may say, well, it was at a disadvantage. I mean, the fight was aired in the daytime because of the time zone difference. All right, you say tomato, I say tomato. That's debatable. It's definitely competing against college football, but there was still a replay, so that's, just saying. Now we're gonna get through all this, but it doesn't compare to what Wilder had to compete with. The Wilder fight was competing against UFC 217. The return of George St. Pierre, the biggest UFC fight of the year. A fight in which, now we got to take this with a grain of salt, but Dana White claims did well over 1 million, which we know is south of 1.5. If not, he would have said close to 2 million, right? But so now we're looking at these numbers, and I'm like, all right, so okay, so it would have definitely have done over 1 million views on Showtime, and we don't know how many really. It's hard to kind of gauge. But if it was a weekend where fight fans, didn't have the UFC option, at the very least, I mean, there's no way to know. But if I were to guess, I would say at least 400,000 views were just affected. All right. Now I haven't been able to find, although it's not like I did some extensive research. So, but in the 5 minutes that I looked up a lot of this stuff, I was not able to find how many views the replay got. But here's the part that kind of will impact the replays: the fact that the fight was only like 2 minutes long, meaning you could watch it on YouTube, and Showtime did post the fight on YouTube, right? And it's all over social media. You could easily fit it. And in the age where people have such short attention spans, this fits the bill, It just does, right? And that's why it's you don't even have to show highlights of the fight. You just show the fight. I mean, it's a highlight reel in its own, right? So anyway, I just think that these numbers were good, and as a boxing fan, this is good to see, right? This is good to see as a boxing fan, because if I'm being honest, I thought this fight was not going to do very good because of the UFC 217, because they have it on Showtime, which is the next thing I want to talk about. This fight, I think they dropped the ball. This fight should have been on CBS. They should have put this fight on CBS, man. They should have put this fight on CBS. If it did over 800,000 on Showtime, it would have done far more on CBS. Far more. I honestly believe it would have won the primetime rating slot, and millions would have watched it. Millions. No, not 800,000. See, what happens for those that don't live in the States, Showtime is a paid prescription, not a prescription. I have Luis Ortiz in my mind, but it's a paid subscription. That's what it is. So when you have to pay, all right, additional, first you have to have a cable package or satellite TV, whatever it is. And then on top of that, you have to have a qualifying package. And on top of that, you have to have a package. You have to purchase Showtime. I mean, this is not a very small percentage of the country has Showtime. A very small percentage, so, and of the small percentage that have Showtime, only a fraction of those have it for boxing, so this is why 800,000 was this is very good, right? This is good for Showtime, no doubt. I mean, I think that's more than like the Ward Frotch finale for the Super 6 got in Showtime. Like, no joke. And these are numbers that were just, can you compare them to the 2 million that HBO used to get? Not necessarily, but we're just not in that age anymore. There's just far more competition on TV. That's just the reality, right? But the numbers were good. The numbers were good. So what does it tell us? What can we get from that? I'm going to be very, very honest. Although I do believe the numbers are impressive, I don't think it really tells us anything. I don't think it's going to, in any way, shape, or form, I honestly just don't think that this while the number is good to see, and I'm glad that boxing did good numbers, okay, I want to make that clear, it really doesn't impact at all like where the fight's going to take place and leverage in the negotiations. It really doesn't. If I'm just being honest, it doesn't do that, right? And let me explain why, right? Let me explain why. First of all, while the number's good, and while that was better than what AJ did in his fight with Takam, right? While that's the case, I mean, the number still is not extraordinary, right? Like, it's not an extraordinary number. Like, if 800,000 views doesn't translate to 800,000 buys if the fight was pay-per-view, right? If this fight was a pay-per-view, I have a very, very hard time picturing it doing in the 100,000s, right? I have a very, very hard time picturing a fight doing that many, right? Because you got to look at other fighters that do kind of like these type of numbers, like Gennady Golovkin. He didn't do very good pay-per-view numbers here, right? So I think while we could look at it and say, hey, this is good, while we could look at it and say, man, that's how many those people are going to want to watch Wilder again, right? You could take a lot of positives out of this, but in no way, shape, or form do I think it's put pressure or something like that for the fight to happen in the U.S., right? We have to look at the numbers as far as financial. So the reality is If we take bodies, like total viewers, the reality is more people watch AJ than Wilder in the world. I mean, that's just, and boxing is a worldwide sport. More people buy Joshua tickets to go see him live than Wilder. More people have, Wilder's never been in a pay-per-view. Joshua has. He does very good pay-per-view numbers in the UK, right? Now, I'm not here to talk business or anything like that, but I am a realist, and I know that this is not necessarily in any way, shape, or form. It's not like oh yeah, this totally means that the tables have been turned. That's not as far as the financially or with leverage or anything like that, right? It's okay to point it out because it's true, right? That he got more views on Showtime than AJ did. It's okay to like I said, right? To acknowledge that it's good for boxing. More views, the better. And you could even say that it's going to help make the fight happen, which I think is a good thing. But do I think that these numbers in any way, shape, or form are going to impact the negotiations? Not really. Like just being a realist, it's not really going to impact that at all. So. Maybe they put it on CBS and it did millions and won the primetime slot. Maybe then, but that's not what they did. That's not what they did. So Showtime isn't under a lot of pressure to get a lot of views. Okay, I'm not saying no pressure. We're at CBS. They are. Execs will be tougher on you if you can't deliver the ratings. It's and especially if you take into account the type of money you're spending. So I see that they kind of took the safe route there, and I think it was a mistake. And at the end of the day, though, in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. My stance hasn't changed whatsoever. I want to see this fight. Okay, I want to see AJ versus Wilder fight. Now, where should the fight happen? I've already said this, and I'll say it again. Number one, I really don't care where the fight happens. I'm not going to protest, okay, where the fight happens. I'm just not, right? But does AJ and Hearn have every right to say, or at least in the negotiation, say the fight has to be in the UK? Is that out of the question? Absolutely not. Why should that be out of the question? Now, same way, I mean, can Wilder's team, and if they can break down the logistics and convince Hearn that, hey, if you do the fight over here in the States, if you do it in Vegas, if you do it in the quote-unquote mecca of boxing, which is the United States, you're going to make more money, right? And let's say, can they talk about that? Sure. I mean, I'm not saying they can't. Of course they can. But we got to be a little more realistic. Like here's the problem with the United States being a mecca of boxing, okay? Long term, I still believe the United States will be king. Long term, right? This is a marathon, but at the moment, and at least in the case of this specific fight, regardless of how you look at it, they'll fill out a stadium in the UK. And they'll bring up those prices, and they'll make a lot of money in the gate. They got to sit down and say, okay, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the following. So if Eddie Hearn could sit down, like you're in front of Eddie Hearn, for example, and or AJ's manager more so, and you say, the fight should happen in the U.S. I mean, look, Wilder did over 800,000 viewers on Showtime. I mean, can you? I don't know how you use that to prove that the fight should be in the U.S., right? I mean, I'm not exactly sure. But what Eddie Hearn and Wilder's and H's manager can do is say, yeah, but here's a stadium, and we've sold it out X amount of times. I think it's 2 or 3 times now. And this is a gate we can do. Do you have anything that will compare to that gate? Like, do you have anything in the States that where we're going to make this type of money? Right? And if it comes down to that, like if it comes down to they can't agree on the venue, then you got to side with the side that has the most money. You know, like to me, if the way to settle that is who's going to put up the most money, right? Right? Like not hypothetically, not any of that. They could start that way, but at the end of the day, if Wilder's side is willing to put, like if they're insistent on wanting to fight, now I'm not saying that's the case, right? But if they're insistent on the fight happening in the States, then by all means, they could negotiate that. But more than likely, that's going to impact their pockets if that's what they insist, right? That's just the reality of things. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, right? I'm just hoping that we get news that Eddie Hearn and whether it's Al Heyman, I don't give a shit. Okay, go behind closed doors, negotiate all this shit. Okay, because this is not, something that's going to happen overnight. So the sooner they get started, the better, right? The sooner they start this whole damn negotiation shit, the better, because there's millions of dollars flying around, and both fighters want that dough, right? So it's not like, not something I prefer to talk about, but that's just the reality of things, guys. It's the reality of things. All right. So, in conclusion, good for boxing. All right. As a fan of boxing, I'm glad to see that the sport does good numbers, regardless of who the fighter is. But it doesn't quite flip the tables. It's not like all of a sudden Wilder's the A side or something like that. It shows that there's some interest for Wilder there. I mean, it does show that. And I think more so than the 800,000 views, I think the social media response, has been good. There's been a lot of local news outlets covering it and stuff like that. So I think that's good. That's very, very good. But if preferably Wilder Joshua next, but if for whatever reason Wilder does not fight AJ next, if that fight doesn't happen, then I want to see Wilder on like CBS or something. Put him on local TV. Put him on a network. Don't put him on Showtime. So millions can watch him. Because when you put them on CBS, then that's open to all the homes in the United States. All of them. Okay? Not just a couple million. It's open to all of them. So that's what I hope they do. Honestly, that's what I hope they do. And with the social media response, we can create a firestorm with that, right? But hopefully the fight happens next. I think it'll be a big fight. Right? I think it'll be a big fight. I've never argued. I've said this since day one. I've never argued that the fight should happen in the UK. I've never argued that. Outside of if all sides are cool, like I could care less where the fight happens. I couldn't care less, right? But if it comes down to I want to hear and I want to hear, if it comes down to that, then I gotta say that the fight should happen in the UK. If neither side wants to go to the other end, that's where the fight should happen. In my opinion, right? pull up the chat here really quick. And I am beyond tired, man. This shit is loading right now. Hopefully it hurries up. Come on, there we go. AJ10 says, "What's up, bro? I watched the fight more times on YouTube than live on Showtime." Well, that's true. Like I never watched it on TV. I watched it on YouTube. So there's always something going on during boxing matches, says AJ10. Well, there is, but it's never like UFC 217 though. You know, NBA playoffs in May. Wilder fights are perfect for social media, says AJ10. I agree. You can show the highlights of his KOs, and it's only 2 minutes long. How much did Canelo versus Kirkland do on HBO? That fight was not pay-per-view. I checked. It was 2.2 million. Yeah. The fight needs to happen in El Paso, bro. Like EG Live said, AG wants to tap into Latino market. Oh, jeez. Don't make no money here. Latino market, he better come in wearing a sombrero then. That'd be quite a sight to see. Wilder says the fight isn't happening unless he gets a 50-50 split. LMAO. Joe Lopez 40. Did he really say 50-50 split, Black Latin? JD, does he not deserve a 50-50 split? JD, yeah, on the recent interview with Michael Michelle Joey Phelps, an hour ago or so, Wilder said 50-50 split down the middle because AJ hasn't done anything. And I'm making things up, he says. I'll address this in a little bit. Joe Lopez 40 ounce. I doubt Team Hearn will be okay with a 50-50 split. Sounds like the fight isn't happening soon. The split can be 50-50, says AJ 10. If Joshua guaranteed more from the pay-per-view buys. JD, I don't know what Wilder deserves, but I know Wilder isn't generating the capital AJ is, so Wilder can dictate. Like that. Wilder's shown that he brings something to the table. JD, Wilder brings his belt to the table. His belt. All right, so here are my thoughts. Here's my honest opinion about that. Now, I haven't seen the interview, so first of all, I have a grasp on negotiation. So, I mean, Wilder's not going to start saying I want 30%. Like he's going to say he wants 50%, and then when they sit down, because if his goal is to get 40%, all right, then he's not going to start off saying he wants 40%. All right, that's just not the way it's going to happen. Right now, I'm not claiming this is what Deontay Wilder's doing, but it is possible. It's totally possible that this is a starting point of the negotiation. Right. At the end of the day, I've never taken serious when any promoter or fighter comes out and claims, I'm not fighting for this, I'm not fighting for that. I got to get this, I got to get that. When they go out there and they say it to the media, right? What I do know is that Wilder has done a good job putting pressure on Eddie Hearn, and he's been putting pressure on AJ, and so have the fans, of course. And you'll be naive to think that, if that pressure hasn't, created a huge buzz for this fight, because it has. That is just the reality. But back to what I was saying about Wilder. If Wilder can do, like, I can't tell you the numbers. Like, I can't put a figure. I can't say just sitting here, oh, Wilder, he deserves 30%. Like, I don't know. All right. Both teams have to get themselves in a room, and they'll bring in their numbers, and they could talk about who's generating what. Is it possible that Wilder could get that type of money? Yes. If let's say for example, Showtime or HBO, all right, start bidding for this, right? Let's just say, and it's because it's this American heavyweight in a unification fight. Now you could sit there and say, "Oh, that's unfair. That's this, that's that," but the money's there. If it's like, what's the reason they'll be doing that, and they will. What's for what reason is HBO and Showtime going to be bidding for this? Because it's Wilder on the bill. Okay, Wilder's name is on there. They're not doing this for any other Joshua fight. Now, you can say it's an indirect way of generating money. You know, it's not necessarily Wilder himself generating that capital, but it's still a reality. You know, it's still money on the table that is being put on the table because Deontay Wilder is on the bill of that fight. Right? So, well, I think it's outrageous to think Wilder should only get 10%. And some may say that it's outrageous for him to be asking for 50-50 when he hasn't generated the type of, whether it's crowd size or even though the UK is a much smaller country, more people watch AJ over there than watch Wilder here, which is why I kind of wish they would put the fight on CBS. All I could tell you is that they got to sit down and negotiate this, because AJ's team has to balance. While we generate so much and whatever they think they quote unquote deserve, whatever that amount is, right? That to balance it out with, well, I can't make that type of money fighting anybody else right now. So how much am I willing to give up to put on Wilder's end to help balance this thing out and make the fight happen? They gotta negotiate this. And I don't care how they come out of the negotiations as long as the fight gets done. As long as the fight gets done, I don't care how they come out of these negotiations, right? I just don't. It don't matter to me. Now, does Wilder deserve 50-50? Right offhand, not really. I'm okay with him using that as a starting point for the negotiations. I'm okay with that. But I don't think ultimately, just like I didn't think Pacquiao deserved 50-50 against Mayweather. You know what I mean? It's just, we just can't ignore those factors. We just can't. Let me go back here. That and JD, you're full of shit and bias. The recent numbers say that Wilder does. I mean, well, we'll just add a little bit. Agent 10, what is Deontay Wilder supposed to say? Joshua should make more money. He packs the house, right? He's not going to say that. JD, Wilder has no prior pay-per-view numbers. TV numbers don't count. This is early into negotiations. Right now, they're posturing. AJ10, the pay-per-view format is different in the UK. AJ10, when is the last time a pay-per-view was $20? Black Latin. Says who? Since when does pay-per-view numbers don't count? They don't count because you don't want them to count. Joe Lopez, 40 ounce. How many pay-per-views does Joshua have? One? That's a good question. AJ did 1.5 million pay-per-view against Klitschko, but that was Klitschko's name on the card too, though. Black Latin. Wilder and AJ are the two most popular fighters in their division. Both champions. AJ has one or two pay-per-view performances. Stop bullshitting. His debate. Let's debate this honestly. JD. All right. We'll ignore that comment, but there we go. AJ has 5 pay-per-views. All right. Anyway, We're not going to get into that hominin attacks in the chat, guys. Like that just ain't going to happen, right? But here's my thing. All right, we don't have to be talking about other people's family members. This is just boxing, guys. Right? But and yes, JD, I'm talking about your comment. All right. Anyway, to Black Latin. So, while I understand your point, okay. Well, all right. Okay, fair enough. But I mean, you were talking about his dad, bro. I mean, come on, right? Let's leave family members and all that shit out of it. All right, cool. Anyway, to Black Latin, like here's my thing, bro. We have to go by what somebody generates and from what the event is projected to make. All right, so if this event is projected to make, like, let's say, if they make it pay-per-view or whatever it is, but let's just throw a number out there. Let's say it's projected to make $70 million in total, right? AG has numbers that show, okay, this is how much we've generated, whether it's pay-per-view or gates. Like, they have those numbers. Wilder doesn't really have those numbers. While he has fought in arenas before, the gate wasn't that high. And well, we do have to take into consideration how many people watched you on TV. And while these numbers are good, it doesn't justify a 50-50, if you get what I'm saying. You know, it doesn't quite justify that. No, we have to justify the 50-50. You know, nobody's saying that Wilder brings nothing to the table. At least I'm not saying that. But whatever he brings, and I have nothing against Wilder starting 50-50 at a negotiation table. Okay, that's what he's supposed to do. Kind of like when you go buy a car, you know, you don't, you know, you start extremely low because the dealer's going to start at the sticker price, and then you negotiate from there, right? That's kind of what this is. At least I think that's what it is. But in the end, if he gets 50-50, all power to him. I ain't gonna be mad at him. But just offhand, we have to show how, looking at the money, right? How do we fit into the equation that it's 50-50? I guess I'm not following. Truth and facts about boxing. What's up? Black Latin. Yes. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but they have to posture negotiate. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right? That's exactly what I'm saying. Right? So now it's a double-edged sword. So because if they sit down and negotiate and AJ's side does not want this fight, and they're going to come out and say, oh, you see, they're being unreasonable. They're asking for 50-50, right? If he's going out there doing it in public, you know. But at the same time, it puts pressure on him. So it's either he's a genius for doing it, or it may just give Eddie Hearn and company a reason not to do the fight. So it's just, I guess we'll see how it goes. By the way, if let me do this really quick. Let me do some really quick. If anybody wants to come on live, see, now I'm free, right? Last two hangouts I did, two dudes called me out, right? And I honestly had to go, right? I had to go. But if anybody wants to come on live right now, let me just do this right now. And by the way, while I'm saying that, just like, don't be shocked if when they sit down at the negotiation table and Wilder seems asking 50-50, well, what do you guys think Hearns is Joshua's end's going to do? Eddie Hearn and company. What are they going to do? They're going to say, 80-20, right? Like that's where it's going to start. And they're going to sit down, they're going to negotiate, and then eventually Wilder might end up with 35-40%. But I do think Joshua is definitely the lion's share here. He really is. And then money aside, he also has two of the belts. He has two of the belts compared to one from Wilder. So, it was just money aside. It doesn't always mean everything, but hey. Why can't I copy this shit? There we go. Anybody know his old sixes around? Hopefully. Hawker Mustang. You know what? I'll debate Hawker Mustang under one condition. One condition. He has to show his face on camera. DStyleBoxing showed it. I've shown my face on camera. You guys seen the videos. All right. A lot of these dudes that I have blocked, I'll let you come on my channel and whatever it is you want to talk about. I'll let you talk shit about whoever you want to talk about too. I wouldn't interrupt. But you got to show your face on camera under that condition. But what about you, DStyle? I've already shown my face on camera. But if you insist, I'll show my face too. But I'm just saying. All right? Like, you have to show your face. All right, JD. Look, if two dudes are talking shit, that's fine. But you gotta leave family out of it, bro. Right? Like, it's I don't know what it is you don't understand. Like, it's you gotta leave family out of it, bro. That's strike two. Okay, I'm not censoring you. You can say what you want, but you gotta leave family out of it, right? All right, let's see here. What's the matter with people sometimes? All right, let's see here. God damn. Is a Hawker Mustang willing to take the challenge? I don't know. I don't know if he will. To be honest, well, a lot of you guys being challenged by trolls. You should have that condition, by the way. Joe Lopez 49. You don't think he'll show his face on camera? Like, for real? All right. Why can't I pull this up here? What the hell's going on? All right. Anyway, it's there. Whoever wants to click on it. Let's see what else we got. What else is going on in the world of boxing? He has a Joe Dirt mullet. You think he does? I don't know what he has. Hawker Mustang's a weird dude, man. He's a weird dude. Like, I'll see him on, because he's blocked from my channel, but like, anytime I'm directing a response to somebody, he always ends up in their video. Always. Oh yeah, D-Style. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Aztec. Yeah. He hates. Yeah. He hates whites too. Like, it's always that. Always that. Right. Well, if Hawker Mustang wants to prove that he's not PP or Sean, then he's more than welcome to come on and show his face on camera. In fact, I don't even have that channel blocked. If the alleged librarian is out there, he's more than welcome to come on right now. He's a consistent troll. Now that I think about it, Hawker Mustang has been around for a while. He really has. Yeah, he has. He's been around for a while. Any of you guys in the chat do hangouts at all? Or it's just about the chat life? There's a lot of dudes out here. This is about which is cool. It's all about the chat life. Chat for life. AJ10, you never done a hangout ever. Black Lance, he'll jump on quick. I think this one dude got mad that I deleted 2 of his comments, but what are you going to do? There's a dictatorship in my chat, okay? It's the way it is. Joe Lopez, chat for life. He's got warrants. Boxing fan, you do you don't do hangouts, boxing fan. I think that's just you, boxing fan. I have a feeling that's just you. I haven't heard anybody else have that problem. If anybody concurs with that issue, with that problem, let boxing fan know in the chat, because I think, I don't know if anybody else has that issue. Because if there's an issue with that, we want to address it. By the way, everybody watching live, thumbs up the video. Let's see if we get waiting for Black Latin here, see if we could get some dialogue going. Boxing fans like, nah, man, I'm doing hangouts. I just chill, chat for life. Wonder where Doc's at. I haven't seen Doc in the chat for a while. There's always a regular. Yeah, I said he's going to jump on. I'm not sure.
Hello? Yo.
All right, there you go. There you go. What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
How's it going?
Oh, man, it's going great, man. Hey, I just wanted to jump on and say something real quick, man.
Sure.
All right, man. This dude's been talking about my mother and my dad, so I just want to say this really quick, man. Since you want to talk about my mother and my dad, hey, eat a bag of dicks and your father's a faggot, man.
Jesus Christ. Well,
nah. But hey, man, look, I got a better question, bro.
Sure.
Tell me, because we always debate about that. Tell me, why do you think, like, you're so certain that that AJ would beat Wilder? You claim that he's a better boxer. Tell me why he's a better boxer. Tell me why he's a better boxer.
Sure. So let's go over it now. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't mean I think AJ does everything better than Wilder, right? I think they both have their strengths, but one, I think AJ, while he doesn't have the one punch knockout power like Wilder does, he is very capable of knocking guys out himself. I think AJ has a tremendous uppercut. I think he does better body work than Wilder. I think he has better combinations than Wilder. I think he's more. I just think he's more technically sound than Wilder is. Okay,
Right.
now that doesn't mean I'm saying Wilder's shit or anything like that.
Right.
I think Wilder has a better right hand. You know, I think Wilder's jab is very underrated. You know, but
Right.
I don't know if Wilder's jab is better than Klitschko's, for example. You know, so it's that's
Oh yeah,
just
that is true. Yeah.
that's just. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not
No, I agree
saying
with
I
you.
know for a fact that AJ would win. I think Wilder's capable of beating him, but if I were a betting man, like if this fight in any way, shape, or form, if the odds are close, I'm putting money on AJ.
You put money on AJ. So put it like this. All
If
right,
the
you got
odds are
your
close, yeah.
right. So if you got your last money, all right, your last money, and you need this money to flip. You need it to work for you, right? You need this money to
Yeah.
flip like 3 times over. You need it. So this is your last money. So you would actually put your money on AJ over Wilder.
Well, I'm not that confident. Um, I'm not gonna bet the house on AJ. No, but what I'm saying is the spare money I got. If um, if I'm gonna bet on this fight and the odds are right, it's I'm not gonna bet on. I doubt he'll be a 4-1 favorite or something. But if the odds are close, I'll definitely bet on AJ. Um, that's just me personally. Wilder has looked spectacular against the guys he's fought, but I do
Yeah.
feel like AJ's definitely a whole nother level than the guys that Wilder has fought.
No, that is true. But could you also say that Wilder is on a different level, much better than any of the guys that AJ's fought, excluding Vladimir Klitschko?
Of course, yes.
Okay, all right. Now, how much better do you think that Vladimir's jab is compared to Wilder's?
Well, given the fact that Vladimir wasn't even in his prime anymore,
Right.
if on a scale from a scale to 1 to 10, if I were to give Klitschko's like a 7, I got to give Wilder like a 6.
Okay, so that's just 1 point. I understand that's just 1 point.
Yeah.
So that's not much of a discrepancy between two. All right, bro. So you named your attributes and you explained to me why you think that he's better. You think that AJ is better technically, and you feel like he has a more powerful left hand. All right, so I understand that. Now this is the heavyweight division, so you know when you're talking about the heavyweight division, you know that the equalizer, the ultimate equalizer, is power. All right,
Right.
so would you say that Wilder has more power?
That right hand of Wilder is more powerful than anything AJ's got. In my opinion, yes.
Okay. Now, how about footwork? Like, would you say that? Would you say that Wilder has better footwork? He moves around the wing. He moves around the ring much better.
I think Joshua does a lot of good subtleties. He's good with pivots
Right.
on the inside. That's why he's really good with attacking the body. But if you were to say who just flat out, straight up, who has better footwork, then I'll agree with you. I mean, Wilder.
Okay, so we agree that Wilder has better footwork, a better jab, more reach, and also the ultimate equalizer, a right hand. Okay, how about speed? Who has the speed advantage?
I feel like Wilder throws the faster singular shots, but I do feel that Joshua throws the faster combinations.
Um, I don't know, D. It's hard for me to agree with you on that one, bro. Because, all right, what about that 1-2, and what about that 1-2 punch that he hit? That he hit with, man. That was a very crisp, very straight. It wasn't a
Yes, it
windmill
was.
at all. It was very crisp. In fact, that was faster than I haven't seen a heavyweight with that type of hand speed in a very long time. Would you agree with that?
Just, well, I mean, well, let me put it this way. I've seen heavyweights with fast hands, like Parker has fast hands, but
Right.
I never. It's been a while since we've seen that combination of speed and power. I'll agree with that.
Okay. All right. So so far you concur with these things. You concur that. Well, I mean, I don't need you to agree with me on the reach because Wilder's definitely taller. He's definitely got a
Right,
longer
right,
reach. But we both agree. We both agree that Wilder has a better jab. He has the ultimate equalizer. So you know that even if he's losing in a fight, at any time he can catch you with at anytime he can catch you with that right hand and just change the whole outlook of the fight, correct? So he has more reach, he has a better jab,
well,
he has better footwork, he's faster, he's more athletic, and he has the ultimate equalizer. He has more power in that right hand. He's more explosive. All right. So it sounds like
no,
to me that
to keep in mind, a lot of these things we don't really know, right? There's no way to really like. I'm not gonna. I don't think I've necessarily said that Wilder's the more athletic guy. Like I think
oh,
they both have different attributes. Um, AJ himself is. I just feel he's very explosive, and I just think he has a wider array of punches. Like, uh, does Wilder have an uppercut? Like a real effective one that he consistently lands?
uh you know what? That's a very good question because I've seen a multitude of his fights, and to be honest, I haven't seen him throw the uppercut
Right.
that much. It seems more like
Does
he's
he
more of
attack
like
the body that much, Wilder?
no, but I agreed with you. We agreed on that
Right.
because those were two
Okay.
attributes that you definitely gave that we both agreed on that AJ has over Wilder. AJ has we both agreed that AJ has a more like a larger array of punches.
Right.
He has a larger arsenal, but he doesn't have as much power. But he has a larger arsenal, and he throws more combinations. Uh,
Well,
and
here's the next thing I wanted to say because and you said it right. This is a heavyweight division.
right,
This is what I know about the heavyweight division. Anyone could get knocked out. Right. So while I concede that that right hand of Wilder is a hell of a punch.
it's more of a
Um,
hell of a punch. D is more than a hell of a punch. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro, but
right, right.
yeah, it's more than a hell of a punch. He can change the outcome at any time. You know, a lot of people say that he was losing that fight versus Washington, and he didn't even catch Washington crisp. I mean, he punched him like he caught him like on the temple, on the side of the head,
Right.
and Washington was basically out on his feet. He was done.
Well, to me, a hell of a punch means he can knock you out with it. So, I mean, you get what I mean.
Yeah. No,
But
I know what you mean.
right, but I mean, if AJ catches Wilder clean, he can hurt him and change the direction of the fight too. It's not like he can't do it as well. He's not a powder puff puncher. He definitely has the
True.
ability to hurt Wilder.
Okay. All right. So have we seen Wilder? Well, I think didn't Wilder get dropped like early on in his career? Is that true?
Yeah, but it's been a while. I mean,
Right. Okay. All right. Well, so
in the
both
amateurs, I believe.
guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't in the pros. He wasn't a pro yet. Okay.
From the pros, I know he was hurt by Molina. Like I know
Right.
that.
And would you say Molina's a powerful puncher, or he's just a typical? Is it more like a typical heavyweight power, just like you know?
That's a good way to put it. Like a typical heavyweight power.
Okay, so
But
he's not
that's
even
my
known as a
point. Like
power
in the
puncher.
heavyweight division, unless you're like Eddie Chambers or unless you're something like that, I mean, the average heavyweight power can knock out any heavyweight
True.
if they're
Or
caught clean.
or at least knock him down. At least, yeah, I got
Definitely,
you.
yes.
I see where you're going. At least knock him down. All
And
right.
would you not say that even if we concede that Wilder has more power, and I honestly believe it's in that one punch, right?
Right.
The left hand's a different story, but even if we concede that, wouldn't you not agree that Joshua hits harder than your average heavyweight power?
Oh, definitely. Like
There we go.
I've never downplayed his power. I've never downplayed. I think
Gotcha.
AJ's a good fighter. I think AJ's a good fighter, but I just think that I think you're kind of downplaying Wilder's left hand because he doesn't throw his left hand a lot, but he did hit Bermain with the second time he dropped
Yeah.
him, I believe that he hit him with a good, like a good left, a left hook and a good right hook, and Bermain had the earmuffs on, so he was trying to block it. It still down, you know. So his first time he dropped him, it was a clear 1-2. The second time he dropped him, he got up and did a little dance, sidestepped him, and that's enough. You know, shimmied. He gave him a little bit of a shimmy, and then he hit him on the looping left and a looping right. But those were not
Yeah.
windmill punches. So the first time he dropped him, he showed technical straight punches, right? Because you know the quickest way from point A to point B is a straight line. So he hit him with two straight punches, dropped him. Second time he got up, gave him a shimmy, showed off a little bit, and dropped him again with two hooks. All right, so he showed you that he can throw he can throw jabs, he can throw right straights, he can throw overhand rights, and he can throw hooks. So of course he didn't throw an uppercut like you said, but he
Right.
showed enough of his arsenal to know that he has power in both hands. So I think we might be downplaying his left hook a little bit, and also the power in his left jab. All right, and also I think we might be downplaying his athletic ability. I cannot concede that this guy AJ is more athletic. I mean, he might be buff, you know, but I mean, when you think about athleticism, I think of like a rangy, easy to move, like you move like with a fluid, like a fluidity, you know. And I think that's more of a Wilder than AJ. AJ just seems very tight and wound up.
I
You
just
know, not to say that he's not athletic, he's just muscle
right.
bound. You know, there's no way that I can concede that he's more athletic than Wilder. And so since
Let
we both,
me because we kind of. I mean, I get what you're saying, and you kind of said yourself, right? We haven't seen much of the left, right? I mean, I have to see more of it,
right,
um, but I guess my thing is what the point I'm trying to make is it's not that his left is trash; it's that his right is just far better than his. That's that much better than his left. You know,
right.
it's far more dangerous. You know, than his left
So you're
hand.
going to penalize him? So you're going to
Of
penalize him?
course not. Of course
Because,
not.
well, it sounds like
But
it. All right. So he's got a powerful jab. The first time he fought Bermain, you can argue that he beat Bermain just strictly by just beating him with his jab. So you know, so
right.
I think he's you know, even if you're gonna, I'll concede that AJ may be a little bit more technically better, technically fighter, or may have a larger arsenal. But just like I'll concede that, you know, you got to concede that there's not that much of a discrepancy in gap between
But
AJ and Wilder when it comes to athletic ability and overall power and all of that other good stuff. I think this is a very close fight, and their skill sets kind of complement each other.
right.
but with Wilder having the reach, the better jab, more power in his right hand, more of a fluent, slick style. It's I don't know, man. It's just hard. If I only had $20 left in my name and I had to feed my family, and I would at gunpoint I had to pick one of these guys, I would have to pick Wilder because it's just those little small details.
Right.
It goes to Wilder, man.
So, but here's the thing, because it comes down to the technical part, right? Um, if Joshua closes distance, and this is the part I mentioned, Joshua has a very good body attack. Wilder, there's virtually no body attack there.
That is true. He is a
Right.
headhunter. You're right. You're right.
So my problem with that is, I mean, I just think that closing that distance, he could smother those punches of Wilder, um, and if he could even clinch Wilder. And Josh was a very strong guy, okay, and he outweighs
Very,
Wilder.
very.
Okay, so
Yeah, I
it's
know about like a good 30, 40 pounds. You're right. He's much bigger.
yes. All right, so we can't ignore that factor. The other thing is to me the X factor is definitely that body work from AJ, and that killed Klitschko. That caught up to Klitschko
You
big
think
time.
so? You
Yes,
think that was the determining factor
that he was definitely killing Klitschko with those body shots throughout the fight. Yes, it wasn't the only thing. I mean, in a boxing fight, multiple things happen, right? Um, but the body shots played a role in that fight.
Yeah, I agree.
You
I
know,
agree. All right. So, so you think that the fact that Wilder's a headhunter, you think that's going to be to his detriment? You think that might end up being his undoing?
well, what's just a serious question? What's Wilder's plan B? If he can't
Uh,
smoke him out of there, then what?
all right. Who would you say has more endurance? I mean, I didn't mean to run over your
Sure, sure,
question. I
sure.
didn't want to jump over your question, but who would you say
I get
has
you.
more
You want to
endurance?
know before you answer that question. Sure. Um, okay. So, I mean, one, I haven't really seen Wilder in any fight where he really had to use his endurance, so we really don't know,
Right,
right?
right.
But I will say that Joshua does tend to have to get a second win around like the sixth, seventh round or so, you know. But at the end of the day, he's gone 12. He's gone, you know, the distance several times, more times than Wilder, or not the distance, but later in the fight. So he went to
Right,
the what was it, the 11th round against Klitschko. He was still landing, you know, extremely hard punches late in that fight.
right, right.
Okay, and then Takam fight, he was still hurting Takam late in that fight.
Okay,
So
now
I just
that
don't see him fading. You know, I
you
guess
don't see him
that's
fading.
no.
Mm,
He
okay.
might take a
Well,
round or
I
two
don't agree.
off, but I don't think he's going to be exhausted and out of energy at the end of that fight.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about his head movement and his ability to duck punches?
It's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he moves his head at all. And I think for Klitschko to be, I mean, Vlad was an old guy. I mean, he was
Yeah.
41, and he was kind of rusty, of course, and I mean, he basically, I mean, at least we know that AJ, whether we know he has a chin or not, but we know he'll get up. He's got some heart, right? So, but what you saw Vlad move, give him steady movement, and feed him a heavy jab, and hide his right hand behind it, and just continuously nailing him with that right hand. And this is from a 41-year-old guy who was coming off what, I don't know, almost 2 years of a layoff. All right. So when you put those things into consideration, all right, um, I mean, I'm not saying that Vlad's stiff because actually he showed a lot of movement. Like I wasn't expecting that. He looked like pretty spry for an old guy,
Yeah.
But I mean, we have to consider Vladimir's athletic ability, and you can't. I mean, not Vladimir. You have to consider Wilder's athletic ability. You can't just shun it or try to downplay it because I think he has better movement and he's more of an explosive fighter. He's more of, at this point of his career compared to Vlad, because Vlad's older. And Vlad looked really good. And Vlad had no problem landing punches versus AJ. Now, would you say that Vlad's a legendary fighter. He's defended his belt many
Yeah.
times. But would you say that Vlad has more power than Wilder?
Now with the right hand, I think he has a better hook than Wilder. Now
Well,
the
yeah,
hook was kind of, I mean, he was 41, so.
right.
But in his prime, if I'm not sure if you're asking in his prime or when he fought AJ, but
Well, okay, well, just what we saw from
okay.
that fight versus AJ. From what we saw, he had no problem landing punches at all. Uh, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like AJ showed me head movement because he did not.
Well,
So if
well,
he did not show me
while
head
while
movement,
Vladimir was throwing a jab and while it was kind of landing, um, AJ, although AJ is not like bobbing and weaving and doing crazy head movement, he was kind of having. I mean, Vladimir had to extend a jab more than enough
right?
times. So it's not
We've
like he
seen
wasn't
AJ,
anticipating the jab from coming. So
right?
that's what I mean by okay head movement. I don't think he's, but
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to even call it okay because I have never seen him slip a punch. I've never seen him really bob and weave. He just But if all I'm saying is this, if Wilder can land like that, what do you think that Wilder can do? If Vlad can land like that, what do you think that Wilder can do when Wilder put his hands
well,
on him?
like here's my
We
thing.
know that
So
we've seen AJ drop
I
recently.
get
We've
your
seen
point,
AJ
but
drop.
but
We've
but
seen
but
him drop. So
I get what you're saying. But here's my thing. Vladimir Klitschko, as I said, seasoned fighter. Yes, he was 41 years old, but had a lot of experience, right? Um, was fighting like there was no tomorrow, and has been trained by some of the best trainers in the world, like Emmanuel Stewart. So rest in peace, by the way. But
Yes,
Vladimir,
rest in peace, Manny, rest in
yeah,
peace.
so Vladimir Klitschko, while he doesn't get credit for this, is, I mean, it's a very good technical boxer. You know, looks a little,
Very good, very good.
and in my opinion, he's a better technical boxer than Wilder. I mean, Wilder just picked up the sport too
I
late.
agree.
So
I agree. I
the
agree.
setups that Klitschko used, um, I have a hard time seeing Wilder using those setups. Because that's just my opinion. Now, if in turn, if you
I
ask
don't
me
know. I think
if he,
Wilder throws his jab a lot. In fact, you can compare the two in the sense that he might not be as technically as sound as
right,
Vladimir Klitschko, but I mean, who else besides Wilder in this era throws a jab a lot? I mean, Wilder throws his jab a lot. Like he throws his
yeah,
jab a lot, and he also hides his right hand behind it, and he kind of slips it right through. That's his style. So I mean, even though he might not be as technically sound, but I mean, they do have similar styles. But what I'm saying is, I was more speaking on explosiveness, activity in
sure.
the ring, footwork, moving around, being able to get your punches off in weird angles. Uh, I mean, I think there's a lot more advantages that you need to kind of take a look at and kind of delve deeper into before you just say that AJ is going to win, because I mean this fight is so close. Like I said earlier, their styles
I agree with
complement
that.
each
Yeah,
other, and and I think I mean, we're talking about an American fighter, and I'm not trying to bring up race or trying to be territorial or anything like that, or geographically speaking. I'm just saying that
yeah.
that Wilder is an athletic fighter, and he has more of a slick style. He does have head movement. We have seen him slip and dodge. We've seen him move his hips. No homo. We've seen him move around. We've seen him just seem more fluent. And maybe it's because he's rangy and he's longer, he got longer limbs, and maybe because he's just thinner. I think that
So
AJ's size is gonna be a factor and is gonna play against him, especially if this fight goes into later rounds, because AJ he's way too buff, way too big, dude. I mean, talk him. And if you wanna judge these guys off
sure.
their last performance, who would you say would win a fight if you judge these two guys off their last
If that's
performance?
all I ever saw from them, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
But you can't keep
right.
dwelling on you can't keep dwelling on that Wilder fight, bro. I mean, not the Wilder fight, the Vladimir fight. I mean, you can't
No,
keep
no,
going back to that because
it's not about dwelling, but here's my thing. Let's not dwell on the black. So let's dwell on. That's the word we're going to use. So let's dwell on the only common opponent they have, which is Molina. So
you going to Molina,
no, no. So I mean, it's the only common opponent they have. I mean,
right? But I
Takam.
was talking about the most
So
recent. I
so
was talking about the most recent.
no, no, yeah, yeah, yes, but Takam was not in the same position that Staverne had. I mean, Takam was actually in shape. There's a little bit of a difference there.
That is true, right? But a better shape. But see, a better shape. Bermain didn't do much better, did he? I mean, he
He
lasted,
went
but I mean,
distance.
yeah, he went the distance, but he got his face beat in, and he wasn't the same. I mean, in the next fight, the only fight Bermain's had
Yeah.
between his fight with Wilder and his most recent fight with Wilder was the fight against, I think he fought some white guy, some gringo, and the guy dropped him, didn't he? Isn't it on YouTube? I think I saw the guy drop him.
I
So it's
honestly
like,
didn't see it, so I don't know.
yeah, but he actually got dropped in that fight. And I don't. I
But
mean,
doesn't
I
that kind
mean,
of affect
Bermain
the
just
last performance for Wilder, though?
yeah. I think that Wilder beat the shit out of him the first fight, and I don't think he'll. I don't think. I think
I
he should
mean,
retire.
Takam went the distance with another title holder, so I mean that's. I guess that's my point. Now, if I was just a dude off the streets and I just saw those two fights, and yeah, I would say Wilder. But
Right.
look, I'm not saying that Wilder cannot win this fight. Like it's he definitely can.
Yeah.
But and I agree that this is a close fight, and that's one of the reasons. Like I get excited just talking about this fight. Like it's just imagine like when the bell rings. So
Right. No.
like I really
I
want to
mean,
see it.
we like I know I really want to say too. We really agree on a lot of things. It's just that I just can't concede the athletic ability, and I will not concede that the left hand is that much better. I will concede the uppercut though. Like I rarely see. I mean, I've seen him throw an uppercut a few times, but when you're tall like he is, he kind of does it like Lennox does, where he will like hold the back of your head and
Yeah.
kind of line you up for that uppercut. Kind of like Lennox did Mike, and so it's like he does it like that, but I guess he does it sparingly, But he really does lean heavy on his jab. That's what he kind of, he leans on his jab and he throws his right. That's what he does. So I understand. I concede that, but there's no way I'm going to concede athletic ability. I'm not going to concede reach. I'm not going to concede. I'm not going to concede
Right.
speed. Not going to concede explosiveness. Sometimes it looks like AJ's just a little too buff for his own good. He won't let his hands go sometimes. Sometimes he looks real tired. And I think that he's 40 pounds or more heavier than Wilder. And I think that's going to be to his detriment if this fight gets into the later rounds, because I feel like he's going to get tired just like most big guys do. And these guys are heavyweights anyway. They don't want to go 12 rounds in the first place, So I think, Wilder being slimmer, being like thinner, being more active, having all the athletic ability, being more fluid, having a reach, having the more explosiveness, having the bigger right hand, the equalizer, and never being dropped in a professional fight. I think all those things, I think all those things should be put into consideration before you spend your last $20 on AJ.
Well, I've been not spending my last dollars on any of these guys, but um, I just all I could say, man. Look, Wilder has obviously looked very impressive, but we do have to take into consideration the halo effect, meaning, of course you're going to look a certain way given the level of opposition. Now, I'm not saying that's Wilder's fault, because he has
Right.
tried to fight Povetkin and he has tried to fight Ortiz, and I actually felt like I thought he was going to knock out Ortiz, So um, I just feel like AJ has more dimensions to his game, and I'm talking about the technical aspect than Wilder. I honestly feel that way, and
Why? Because he has an uppercut? Because of the uppercut? Come
well,
on, D. Besides the uppercut,
well, look, it
come on. What
is.
are the dimensions?
What's the only weapon you can use in boxing? Your fist, right?
Well, I mean,
So
your
if
punches,
you're
right?
missing an uppercut, I mean that's a pretty big deal to me. But it's not just the uppercut. I just think the hooks. I think the hook from I believe the AJ hook is more crisp than Wilder's. And while Wilder's, yes, right hand is thunderous. I'll concede that. I already did. But AJ's no slouch with his right hand.
No, that's true. Actually, AJ's no slouch at all. He has power in both hands, but I also think that Wilder does, and he also has more power in that right hand than AJ has in both hands. And but I mean, AJ has enough power to drop anyone. He has enough power to knock out anyone. But he didn't really display much power versus Takum. Would you admit that?
Well, I mean, Takam is a tough, rugged dude. Like you're not going to knock out everybody you fight.
Right.
He did. I mean, they did stop the fight, but a little too early in my
I was
opinion.
gonna say, doesn't he? I was gonna say, doesn't he stop everyone he fights for the most part?
Oh,
Yeah.
I meant like the way Staverne got
Knock him out,
stopped.
right? Oh
Um,
yeah,
because he did. So Staverne got him knocked out. But
right.
I feel like the bot, like it's not just the body shots. I mean, the hooks to the body. Like it's
Right.
this is something
So
that is
so the
missing in
body,
Wilder's, repertoire, I should say.
body. So the body's the determining factor. I remember I asked you that earlier, and that was the thing too.
The
So
body
all right,
work. While you tax the body, there's only one way you could cover up the body. You're gonna have to duck low. That's where the uppercut comes in.
okay,
It's gonna be a combination of all these things, and in my opinion, right, I think that's gonna play that's gonna be the difference in the fight in the end.
okay. Well, tell me this. Why? Tell me this. Why is it that?
Sure.
Why is it that Wilder is so confident and so ready to fight AJ, and AJ is not displaying any real confidence, and the little confidence that he does display seems fake.
Well, I mean, you have to ask AJ that. I don't know, but I mean, I obviously been pushing for this fight, and I have said,
Right. I mean, I have to.
I have said, and I've said, I can believe that AJ can do it all I want, but his
Right.
fans can believe they could do it. But if AJ doesn't believe he could do it, then
Right.
all this talk about technical and who has this, who has doesn't really matter because he could mentally not have it in him to win this fight, But um, when that bell rings, though, like, is it ultimately going to matter? I don't think so. Like, I just don't.
Right. Right. But would you at least admit that this guy is? It seems like he does not want to fight, or he's not ready, even though he's holding multiple belts.
Right.
And he's. Would you say that that's kind of weird? And there's something. Maybe it's that Wilder
Right.
sees something that everyone else doesn't see. Or
Well, look, I don't like from any champion. I don't like hearing I'm learning on the job. I'm this. I'm that. I criticize Canelo for doing that early in his career, but
right.
I've never been a fan of that. AJ was actually doing that a lot after beating Martin, right?
Right.
But
Oh, I don't even bring up that dude Martin. That whole thing there,
yeah,
dude. And I read the ESPN article. Martin received $7 million for that fight. I'm like, wow, and they're giving Wilder for asking for for. So it's like basically it's like as soon as Martin won that belt on that bullshit fight that he won,
yep.
and it seems like
You there, bro? Hello. Looks like Black Latin fell off. Can't hear him. Let's give him a little bit. Let's give him some time. Joe Lopez 40 ounce. It was the 11th round. AJ Tim, my only concern for picking Joshua, sometimes he has a bad habit of dropping his left hand to be hit with the right hand. That's a good point. That's a good point, actually. Takam hit him with that right hand several times. Boxing fan says, I still have Black Latin on my hangout. I just can't hear him. Boxing fan, when Joshua lets his hands go, he can be very, very dangerous. What's up, Quest X? I'm not sure what happened. He was in the middle of a point, and I don't know if his internet went out. I don't know if Hangouts is messing up here, but AJ's 50-50. AJ 10. AJ 10. Wait a minute. AJ 10. Are you Anthony Joshua? Excellent. All right. I just wanted to happen, he says. Now we know why AJ 10 doesn't want to come on the Hangout. Doesn't want to reveal who he is. He's just been spying on my videos. Okay, I'm going to give Matt Ladden about 2 minutes here so he could at least finish his point. If it doesn't come on, I'll go ahead and wrap this up because I am tired. Just want to relax, man. I'm going to watch that movie. I heard it was good. What's it called? War for the Planet of the Apes or something like that. Is that when they kill all the humans or whatever? Who knows? AJ, I'm not Joshua, bro. I don't even have time to be on the boxing voice. All right. Guys, I'm not sure what happened. Maybe his battery died. Who knows? It could be a million things. But nonetheless, shout out to Black Lantern for coming on. I'm going to wrap this up, guys. I'm tired, man. I'm extremely tired. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be more awake. I'll be more awake for the Q&A. All right? Well, day 10, I might do a movie review for it, so stay away from that if you haven't watched the movie. But we'll see. If I like the movie, I'll do a movie review. All right, there's Black Latin. Yep, battery died. It's all good, bro. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I am tired. All right. Might do an open forum tomorrow for the Q&A. We'll see how it goes. And so if anybody wants to come on, then hey. All right. Peace out, guys. Stay safe out there. Don't text and drive and all that stuff. Peace.